Objectives can be stated in different forms. We have seen that either we can give them as activities to be done by the teacher in the classroom, and we can also put objectives in the form of topics or concepts and generalizations to be taught in the classroom. The third way we can state objective is as generalized patterns of behaviors to be inculcated among students. जब हम ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को एज जनरलाइज स्टेटमेंट की शक्ल में दे देते हैं तो उसके साथ क्या मसला है? मसला ये है कि हम ये बिल्कुल भूल जाते हैं कि क्या हमें चेंज लेकर आनी है और ये चेंज जो बिहेवियर पैटर्न में लाना चाह रहे हैं इसकी एप्लीकेशन किस एरिया ऑफ लाइफ में होगी और इस बिहेवियर पैटर्न को हम किस कंटेंट पर या किस कॉन्सेप्ट पर अप्लाई करना चाहते हैं. I'm repeating it that once we are stating objectives as generalized patterns of behaviors to be inculcated among students, they fail to indicate any kind of activity or any kind of target where this attitudinal change or behavioral pattern change is to be applied. क्योंकि ऑब्जेक्टिव की स्टेटमेंट ऐसी होनी चाहिए कि हमें वो क्लियरली बता दे कि हमें किस किस्म का टीचिंग लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंस बच्चों को क्लासरूम में देना है, किस कंटेंट एरिया के बारे में देना है और कहाँ पर उन्होंने इसको अप्लाई करना है और इसके साथ साथ किस किस्म की टीचिंग लर्निंग एक्टिविटी टीचर्स को प्लान करना पड़ेगी ताकि वो इस ऑब्जेक्टिव को मुकम्मल तौर पर अचीव कर लें. So, if objectives they are written in the form of generalized pattern of behavioral change, so we don't know that from this statement what kind of area of life is to be targeted and then what kind of content will be targeted by this behavioral pattern change. So, हमें ये लगता है कि ये objectives नामुकम्मल होंगे. मसलन, we say that the purpose of teaching is to enable students to think critically, or we want them to develop interest. We want students to develop positive social attitudes. We want them to learn how to appreciate, or we want them to develop appreciation. This is how these objectives are being stated generally. If objectives are stated in this form, these are indicating that educational activity plans to develop critical thinking among students, an ability to appreciate, to have interest in something, and then she should be able to demonstrate a positive social attitude. But unfortunately, what we don't know is that what kind of situation, what kind of content, what kind of area of life and what kind of situation these activities or these expertise will be exploited by the students. So, though these are telling us, these objectives stating in this form, they are telling us that a positive change is expected and kind of educational change which is to be expected by the students is given, लेकिन हमें ये मालूम नहीं है कि उन्होंने अपनी इन एक्सपर्टीज को किस कंटेंट एरिया में डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करना है या किन सिचुएशंस में इसको डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करना है. What is lacking in these objectives is that again the content. हम चाहते हैं critical thinking develop करें. क्या वो क्रिटिकल एनालिसिस करेंगे किसी साइंस के प्रोसेस का, वो क्रिटिकल एनालिसिस करेंगे किसी लैंग्वेज के पीस का, और वी वांट देम टू क्रिटिकली एनालाइज द प्रोसेस दे हैड फॉलोड टू decide upon any solution to an activity or to just decide how do they want to take up an example from mathematics and do the problem solving. So, it is not telling us the kind of content area which will be dealt by the critical thinking process and what is it we want them to appreciate. Do we want them to appreciate their own ability to solve problems, or we want them to appreciate a piece of art. At the same time, we are not telling that what kind of area of life will be targeted if we want them to learn and develop interest, appreciation, and to develop the positive attitudes. So we are not giving any guideline that where they are going to demonstrate these kind of skills if they were inculcated among the students. What we can conclude from this is that it is worthless to talk about developing any kind of ability among the students or to develop a behavior pattern among the students if we are not making any reference to the content which will be dealt with and the kind of problems to be solved, किस किस्म की problems को solve किया जाएगा. And same is the case with developing with the attitude and appreciation. If we want them to develop a positive attitude, is it an attitude towards their community? Is it an attitude toward learning or any subject area? Is it about computational skills or is it about appreciating a piece of art or doing art themselves? So ये तमाम चीज़ें जब तक एक करिकुलम के ऑब्जेक्टिव की स्टेटमेंट में शामिल नहीं होंगी, हमें ये बिल्कुल ही नहीं मालूम पड़ेगा कि हमने इन एक्टिविटीज़ को किस तरह से करना है और अगर हम किसी एक्टिविटी के ज़रिए ये एबिलिटी स्टूडेंट्स में पैदा कर देते हैं तो उनकी डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन या उनकी एप्लीकेशन कहाँ पर होगी. If we want them to develop positive attitude, is it towards their own selves or is it towards their environment, their friends and family, or towards their studies? So what is it we want them to develop positive thinking about or positive teaching and learning about? And at the same time, if we want them to appreciate something, what is it? Appreciating the situations they are in or critically looking at the situations they are in? Is it the health and hygiene situation in their own environment, or we are saying it is the issues and problems what they are facing in their school environment and how do they want to improve it? So unless an objective is stating everything that the content to be dealt with and the area where the demonstration will be taken place and a chance will be given to students to demonstrate that knowledge, if it is lacking, then objectives they are not clearly stated. Once objectives they are stated in the form of behavior types, they are not satisfactory enough that they will provide any guideline for the further processes involved in the curriculum development, which are like curriculum and instruction, where we say this kind of learning experience will be given. अगर objective हमें ये guideline नहीं दे रहा कि किस किस्म का objective हमने लिखना है कि हमें पता चले कि एक आपको लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंस किस तरह का देना है और उस लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंस को क्लासरूम में मटेरियलाइज करने के लिए टीचर्स को अपनी टीचिंग को किस तरह से प्लान करना है. सो इट्स बोथ द करिकुलम एंड द इंस्ट्रक्शन प्रोसेस. If objectives they are stated as generalized patterns of behaviors, they will not be giving us guidelines in two things what we have just talked about. One is the curriculum, that what kind of teaching learning experience is to be given, and the second is how to plan teaching. Therefore, objectives stated in this form will not be treated as sufficiently well written objectives for the purpose of curriculum development.